Today, we are walking into a story that it starts like the ultimate travel fantasy, and then it just descends into this terrifying data-driven nightmare. This is the disappearance of Kris Kremers and Lisanne Froon, two young Dutch women who vanished in the Panamanian jungle back in 2014.
And these were two people who, they planned everything right. They spent 6 months saving money. They just graduated.
Right.
Kris in art education, Lisanne in applied psychology. They booked this dream trip to Boquete, Panama, to volunteer, learn Spanish.
It was supposed to be an adventure.
Exactly, the kind of thing that inspires other people. They arrived in March, totally ready.
So our mission here is really to trace that invisible line, the one that separates a tragic accident from something more sinister.
Yeah.
We're diving into a dossier of evidence where nearly every single piece, from phone logs to forensic findings, it seems to actively contradict the one next to it.
It's infamous for that very reason. It just defies logic.
It really does.
And to get it, you have to understand the speed of the transition. I mean, the sheer speed. They start hiking the El Pianista Trail around 11 a.m. on April 1st.
Very popular trail.
Very popular. And they're taking these cheerful photos. They look totally comfortable. But just 6 hours later, the entire timeline shifts violently.
And that narrow window, just 6 hours between those happy hiking photos and that first desperate call, that is what makes this so chilling. At 4:39 p.m. that same afternoon, Kris's iPhone makes the first attempt at a distress call.
And then Lisanne's Samsung follows just 12 minutes later. 4:51 p.m.
They were trying 911 and 112, the international emergency number.
Over and over. The data shows these repeated, almost frantic attempts.
Meant nothing.
Nothing connected. They were likely just too deep in that cloud forest, off the main trail. No reception, no help.
And the moment they don't show for a scheduled tour on April 2nd, the physical search begins. But for us, for this deep dives, the real story is locked inside the devices they found months later.
Okay, so let's unpack that silent timeline, because it is. It's clinical, but it's also profoundly disturbing.
Right.
After that first day, the call attempts keep going, but intermittently. Then you see this crucial split on April 4th.
What happened?
Lisanne's Samsung goes dead after 5:00 a.m., and it was never ever used again.
So the simplest interpretation is that by day 4, Lisanne is incapacitated, or separated from the phone at least.
That's the most logical read, yeah. But Kris's iPhone, it continued to be powered on. It kept searching for a signal all the way to April 11th.
A full week after Lisanne's phone goes silent.
A week. And this is the detail that truly separates this from a simple story of getting lost. After April 5th, Kris's correct 4-digit PIN was never entered again.
Wait, say that again?
The phone was turned on multiple times a day trying to get service, but whoever was using it could not unlock the device.
So they didn't know the PI.
They didn't know the PIN. And that repeated incorrect entry it's like a firewall against a simple accident theory. It means that by April 5th, someone other than Kris was handling her phone. Wow. It's no longer just a survival story. It's a story of separation, maybe injury, or potential outside intervention.
Okay, so the phones paint this picture of panic and separation, but then there's the camera. Lisanne's Canon power shot. It's like, it's their accidental chronicler.
And it contained 100 images taken later in the week. But before we even get to those, there's a gap. We have to talk about the missing file, image 509.
The deleted photo.
Exactly. And this is a detail that hints at intentionality, or unsettlingly, expertise. The metadata confirms it was deleted.
Okay, but you can delete a photo by accident.
You can, but this wasn't a standard deletion. According to the analysis, it was deleted securely. It was basically wiped, making a recovery impossible even for forensic experts.
So why? Why go to such lengths to erase a single photo right before the most disturbing sequence of the entire case begins?
That's the question.
That deleted image, it just sets the stage perfectly for the most chilling piece of evidence in this whole dossier. The 90-night photos. We're talking about a 3-hour window, repetitive, methodical use of a camera flash in what was total, unrelenting darkness.
The scene itself is just pure dread. It's April 8th. They've been missing for 7 days. And between 1:29 a.m. and 4:10 a.m., 90 photos are taken.
You have to try and imagine the atmosphere. Pitch black, heavy rain.
Which is confirmed by the images.
And the only light is that single flash just going off over and over and over again into the void.
And we should be clear, the originals were almost entirely black. Investigators had to crudely brighten them to see anything at all.
And that's important because that process created these weird color artifacts that led to a lot of speculation later on.
Right. The analysis really focused on what the flash was hitting. You see these little white dots.
The rain.
Conclusively, yes, raindrops reflecting the flash. And you also see these red or pink hexagon-shaped orbs.
And what are those?
Experts are clear.
Mhm.
That's the camera flash reflecting off skin. Or fingers. This wasn't a wide landscape shot. This was someone holding the camera very close, in the dark.
But wait, 90 photos over 3 hours, mostly pointed in the same direction. If they were just signaling for help, wouldn't you just, I don't know, hold the flash down or point it at the sky?
And that's what the analysts considered. They actually ran the numbers. They concluded that it was highly likely, about a 75% probability, that this was a deliberate signal.
A signal.
Yeah, aimed toward a distant light or maybe a sound. They were focusing on a V-shaped tree branch about 20 meters away. This wasn't just about lighting their path.
They were desperately trying to communicate with something or someone.
That's the theory.
And that desperate communication is actually captured in the few photos that break the pattern. Let's look at image 550, the balloon marker.
Right, image 550. It clearly documents a makeshift marker. You can see a twig with some red objects, probably shopping bags, placed on this big eroded boulder in a riverbed.
And there's also that strange straight line in the background.
Yeah, a remarkably straight line. Could be a man-made cable, maybe part of a bridge structure. This just speaks to them trying to leave a trail.
And then there's image 576, what they call the SOS marker.
This one shows items on a rock, it looks like.
Huh?
Well, it could be pieces of the tourist map Lisanne was holding on day one.
And tissue paper.
Tissue paper arranged around something reflective, maybe the bottom of a Pringles can. The thinking is this was a desperate attempt to either light a signal fire that failed in the rain or maybe create a reflective marker for search planes.
So these photos, they confirm a conscious, organized attempt at survival.
They do.
But then we reach the point where that survival narrative just shatters completely. Image 580.
Ah, yes.
This photo, taken at 1:49 in the morning, is the closest and most unsettling image of them all. It's a perfectly exposed, perfectly focused close-up of the back of reddish blonde hair, assumed to be Kris's.
And the timing is so specific. It was taken in this brief 107-second gap between two other shots. The subject and the photographer had to be stationary and close for the focus to be that precise. But the key detail, the one that just explodes the whole survival scenario, is the condition of the hair.
The hair is completely dry and clean.
Exactly. We know it was raining heavily that night. You can see it in the photos taken seconds before and seconds after this one. Yet after 7 days and nights in the jungle, the hair shows no dirt, no debris, no wetness.
How is that possible?
That is the multi-million-dollar question. Was Kris sheltered in a cave somewhere? Or does this highly specific, perfectly focused close-up suggest someone else was operating that camera, documenting a stationary, maybe incapacitated subject?
That photo, it raises far more questions about who was behind that camera on April 8th than any of the other 89 photos combined.
For sure.
And after that, the trail goes cold again for 10 weeks.
Until June 14th. That's when a local woman near the Killabur riverbank finds Lisanne's blue backpack.
And the contents were surprisingly intact.
That's an understatement. The phones, the camera, insurance card, 2 bras, $88 in cash. All there.
And the condition of that backpack is central to this no logic argument, isn't it?
Oh, absolutely. It was found near a raging riverbed after 10 weeks in the jungle during the rainy season.
Yet the contents were dry, neatly packed.
The cash, the electronics, all still inside and in good condition. It's a massive contradiction. If that backpack had been in the river for weeks, the contents should have been destroyed.
So what's the alternative theory?
That it was sheltered. That someone found it not long after they vanished, kept it for weeks, and then put it there to be found, claiming a recent discovery to avoid getting involved.
2 months after the backpack, the remains started appearing.
Kris's denim shorts were found first, just placed on top of a rock. Later, 33 scattered bone fragments were recovered along the river. It was only about 5 to 10% of their skeletons.
And this is where the forensics get deeply unnerving.
They do. Our sources point to 2 key findings. First, some of the bone fragments were, quote, chemically bleached.
Which is not natural.
Not at all. Not for standard jungle decomposition. And second, a Panamanian forensic anthropologist claimed there were no discernible scratches of any kind on the bones. No animal scavenging, no tool marks. Nothing.
So now we've reached the Great Divide. The point where the evidence forces you into 2 totally irreconcilable narratives. Yeah. So let's take the first one. The argument for a tragic, simple accident, which the Froon family ultimately accepted.
Okay, so that narrative focuses on the environment. El Pianista is deceptively dangerous. People get lost. So they fall, get injured, they're exposed to the elements.
And the river does the rest.
Right. The powerful river system scatters the remains. It's the simplest, if absolutely heartbreaking, explanation.
But the intervention argument, it focuses purely on all these anomalies that defy a natural explanation.
And there are so many of them.
You've got the professional deletion of image 509.
The perfectly focused, dry hair in image 580.
The dry, neatly packed backpack found after 10 weeks.
And critically, the chemically bleached bones. The sum of those anomalies is just too great to dismiss. The bone bleaching, the lack of dirt on the hair, the suspicious timing of the returned backpack. It all points to a third party being involved, either manipulating the scene or having access to them and their belongings long after they disappeared.
And that's why the Kremers family couldn't accept the official report, right?
Exactly. They formally disagreed and sued the Panamanian government over how the case was handled. They demanded answers for the elements that just defied logic.
So we're left staring at this unsettling dichotomy. Phone records and survival attempts that paint a picture of utter panic.
Desperate struggle for survival, yeah.
Juxtaposed with all these forensic details that suggest something unnatural, something human.
It's the camera's final chapter that haunts me the most. After that last photo, image 609 was taken at 4:10 a.m. There was a silence.
Yeah.
48 minutes of silence before the camera went dark forever.
And the question of image 580 just lingers.
The clean, dry hair.
Were they desperately signaling a distant search party? Or was the camera being used by someone else, documenting a horrifying moment of duress before that final silence? Some dossiers are better left closed, but this one will haunt us forever.